Hey everybody. Hi Christine. I hope you're feeling okay. Thank you so much for hopping on. 1,000 subscribers is kind of hard to believe, actually. It's been a long time coming on this channel, I'm not gonna lie. I started this channel way back in actually a little bit of backup on this channel. And it's part of one of the questions that I got on Instagram. By the way, if anybody has a question, this is a live Q&A as well as just a regular hangout. So if you guys have a question, just throw it in the comments. But yeah, I started this channel way back in July of 2020. And hang on, I have a guest. Hi, Alex.
Hello. Hey, Lizzie, how you doing?
Why can't I hear you?
Oh, can you hear me now? I think my internet
Hi, Andrew.
Hello.
connection is a bit rubbish.
How come I can't hear anybody?
So.
I can hear you. Can you not hear me at all? Weird.
This is strange.
Because I can hear Alex. Can you hear me, Alex?
Oh, yeah, I can hear both of you.
Yeah, okay. So
looks like everybody else can hear.
Yeah.
Just not me. I don't know why.
Huh, weird.
Oh, I got it. Technical glitch.
Oh, hey.
Yay.
I'm just
all
really
right,
dumb.
now it's a party.
Yeah, so I was just saying that I started this channel like way back in 2020. And I think for the longest time, I literally had like 4 subscribers. It's a long time. It's hard getting traction on this freaking platform.
I mean, that's good though. Like 1,000 is good. That's impressive. Like that's a good growth. Like what do you have like it in your head where the first big shift was? Like when it was first like, whoa. I don't know why it was a commercial.
You know what? Like when I first started, it actually wasn't a booktube channel. It was I started out doing like spooky lifestyle sort of thing, but then worked sort of books into it because I had started like rereading again after coming out of a decade-long reading slump.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was funny because all of my other videos were getting views, but the book videos were getting like huge amounts of views.
Oh.
And I was like, I didn't know anybody in the booktube community yet, but I was just part of it as kind of like a viewer. And then I was like, you know what? Even with me recording videos, I wanted to talk about books. And I was like, and then I just made the shift. It was around Halloween of that year. And I was just like, look, the lifestyle thing is not doing it for me. I'm just gonna just talk about books. That's all I wanted to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you still kind of do, like, you kind of like do that. You're in that, like, lately you've kind of been like in that sweet spot where you've been doing a little bit more vloggy where it's like both. And it's like, bam, it's like, I don't know if there's like very few people on this platform who are consistently as thematically on point as both of you. Both Alex and Elizabeth are like the ultimate, like, they have their role. They like, it's always like, always consistent quality, and it's always like the theming's on point and you're always like, yes, you know exactly.
Well, actually, I have a funny story about Alex because back in the day she was a little thrifter before she was the bookkeeper.
Yes. Oh my god.
And she was one of the first people that I had subscribed to on booktube. And I remember I had put out a video and she commented on one of my videos and I fangirled. I totally fangirled.
Oh, that's so awesome. Oh my god. That's amazing. But also, I just want to apologize to start off with. My internet connection was being really weird, so I just closed a bunch of tabs and it seems to be okay now. But sorry if I wasn't, because I couldn't hear you guys for like 30 seconds there. And so I was just like, quick, figure this out. So sorry if I was like just I wasn't like with it for a little bit there.
It's always the tab.
It's always with the technical glitches at the beginning.
Oh, always. And I always notice it's like, especially with booktubers, it's always you've got too many tabs. It's almost always just like it's every time it's like, oh yeah, maybe we don't need 30
I'm
tabs.
such a tab maniac. Like my husband is always like, he'll glance at my laptop and be like, yikes.
What are you doing?
And I'm like, oh, these are just the tabs that are on the screen now. I might have multiple windows all with multiple tabs. And I'm just like, I have a problem.
So it's funny because I started this channel like during the pandemic when I was working from home and like there wasn't really much going on, and I'm an introvert anyway. And I'm like, yeah, all these other people are on there talking about books. I could do that. So we got a camera and I started recording, and my husband still to this day says, I can't believe you of all people put yourself out on the internet. And I'm like, I'm extroverted when I talk about the things that I want to talk about.
I mean, that's kind of the trick with being an introvert, is that like, no, you just gotta find the right topic. Like, well, the problem is like most people you talk to them and they don't go like books. It's like,
especially like horror books. You know,
yeah.
I'm not reading the Colleen Hoover or the whatever, right?
Whatever fantasy is big right now. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've been trying to like investigate fantasy, what's mainly actually just horror, but fantasy. So I'm kind of like trying to swing the line and go there, but I'm like, I've never heard of these books, so obviously they're also not popular. So it's not like that's just how it goes.
Yeah, I actually want to do a vlog one of these days where I pick up something that's super popular with women right now, like a Colleen Hoover or whatever is out in the stratosphere, and like see if I can make my way through.
How long
that would be fun.
You DNF it? That'd be very fun.
Yeah, one of these days. Thanks so much, Christine. And who else we have here? Lauren, thank you so much. And then we had our glitch.
Always, if I'm around, there's bound to be something going wrong. Let's face it.
So truth time, yes, my volume was turn the volume up, Elizabeth. Thank you so much, Jackie. So good to see you.
Oh,
thank you. Yes, happy Saturday, everybody. I was off yesterday, and I challenged myself not to even open my work computer. And it was a challenge, but it was very much needed.
You did it? You did it?
I did it.
Woo!
I did it.
Throw that work computer out the freaking door, except not have a break and get it back later. But metaphorical doors of life.
Right? Vampires are a good gateway from horror to fantasy. Yes, actually. I'd have to agree with that.
It's true, but like sometimes you go in and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't even vampire at all. This is just kissy, which is fine. But like they should put it on the top, because sometimes it's like, whoa, it's like a vampire like bathing in blood, like bleh. And then you like go and you're like, oh, this is not bleh at all. Like this is and you're like, that's fine. But I want to know before I go in.
Yeah, it's like just a completely normal story, but one that just happens to be a vampire. No, it needs to be like full-on vampires. I'm sorry. You need to know for sure.
It's like The Office, but one of them is the vampire for some reason. It's just in the back corner of the office, all the windows are blacked out. It's just like a vampire in the back.
Oh my god.
That would be brilliant.
Hi, Vanessa. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you so much. Thank you. It's kind of like, I don't know. I logged in that one morning and it had that 1K number and it blew my mind. I don't know.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
False advertising. Thank you so much. And we've got Dave and Olive. Hello.
Hello.
So because everybody is here now, just if you do have any questions, throw them in the throw them in the chat. I actually got a good couple. Lauren actually sent me a bunch of questions. Favorite movies with gothic vibes. So I think my favorite gothic movie has to be The Others. It just
Oh,
it has all
yeah.
the things, like just it's just constantly foggy and spooky and the big manor house and there's a cemetery in the back. So like as the movie builds, it just I think it gets into my heart a little bit more with each thing and then you have the big twist at the end. So like for me it was the perfect gothic movie. What about you, Andrew? What do you think?
I always think like, because like I'm like I feel like I always think of like Interview with the Vampire for like my maximum gothic vibes, just because there's like so many different areas of gothness that they travel to. You're like,
Yeah.
ooh, it's like French gothies, and then it's like, oh, it's bad gothies, and the old timey Civil War bad ones. But then they like go on and they're doing all kinds of like cool things. No nightclubs, but I mean that's one of the things that you miss out. But I'm thinking yeah, and the Vampire Lestat, he gets into rock and roll, so he's probably in a few nightclubs in that one. But
Yeah, I've really been wanting to rewatch Queen of the Damned. I know it's a
it's
super
not-
terrible movie, but I don't know, like Aaliyah in that movie, I think she was one of my first girl crushes. I'm not gonna lie.
Nice. I've still never actually seen Queen of the Damned. It's one of those ones that like I totally missed it at the time and then haven't stuck it on, but I should do because it does look like a lot of fun.
What
yeah,
about
like
you, Alex? Do you do a lot of gothic movies or fiction?
Yeah, I guess it's not something I have read a ton of. I actually did on the subject. I have a video going up tomorrow, which is my Gothic Hearts reading challenge TBR, because I'm going to join in with that. So I'm very excited for that. So yeah, I've got a few books pulled out for that, which I'm really looking forward to reading.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Some classic Gothic literature and some modern as well. So yeah, really looking forward to joining in with that.
So excited. And yes, Lauren, Nicole Kidman, that is the Others.
that
The Nicole
trailer.
Kidman one.
I actually own that movie on Blu-ray, but I've never seen it because I remember growing up that trailer just scared me, man. It was a scary trailer. I think it's playing before Spider-Man. I go see Spider-Man, and it's just like, oh, here's the Others, and I'm like, it's scary. Why did you do this? It's Spider-Man. It's like very scary.
Yeah, it's been years since I've seen the Others. I remember it being good though. So yeah, I would rewatch that.
Yeah, it's one of those very slow, like spooky, very eerie kind of movies.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to be in the right mood for it, but it's definitely a good one.
I think the other the thing that I love, like the other gothic cinema that I love, is just like all old Hammer horror movies, because like I just love the sets, I love the actors, I'm there for whatever. I'm like, it's Frankenstein, but it's in an insane asylum. I'm there, like
I
whatever
have to
happens.
watch more Hammer. I've got to watch more.
Oh, you got to
really
watch
do.
Dracula AD 72, in which Christopher Lee's Dracula ends up in 70s London, and it is great. It's so good.
Say no more.
It's
Say
the
no
best.
more.
I'm a big fan of Countess Dracula with Ingrid Pitt. That's a good one. But yeah, Gothic movies. The first one that came to mind was actually the one called Gothic, and I think it's Ken Russell, and it's like the scene is of it being when Mary Shelley and the other crew got together to write their stories, and the night that she wrote Frankenstein, it's kind of that is the setup for the story. But it's like it's super 80s. It's really schlocky, but it's really good. It's really good fun. I would recommend it to anyone that hasn't seen it.
I have not. I'm going to have to put that on a list. I need you guys to make up a list for me, and it's like friends recommend Gothic movies to Lizzie.
Yes, that's a great idea.
I don't know. I think you'd figure out too much about me if I chose you. Like you'd be like, oh, so this is where it all comes from. This is every single you get like just a checklist of weird things I watched too much as a teenager.
So funny enough, Queen of the Damned, the soundtrack is still to this day one of my favorite soundtracks. I listen to it frequently.
Nice.
It's very dark. It's everything. It's everything I love in my life. Nakia's here. Thank you so much. We love Nakia.
Hello.
I didn't realize how many Gothic books I had on my shelves until I saw Elizabeth's Gothic Hearts. But well, there you go. I mean, it's the perfect opportunity to pick them up, right?
Yeah, I actually have a
I
few
guess that's the
non-fiction.
influence. Sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. I was just gonna say I just have a few non-fiction Gothic books that I'm kind of excited to pick up because, like, I have like books about like the writing of Jekyll and Hyde and the creation of a bunch of stuff about the creation of Dracula, both in like film and television and all that stuff. So excited to get to those. Especially there's like it's David J. Skull is like a historian of like a lot of the classic old school monster movies, like and how they got birthed and all that stuff. And he recently passed away, so I wanted to read some of his books because he just passed away.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I guess that's like testament to the influence of Gothic on so many things over the years and still today. Just those tropes, that were established within the Gothic, just they come up everywhere. So
and that's kind of what I try to do with the book club too. That it's like not just Gothic, but it's Gothic and Gothic adjacent, because there's so many more things that you could explore that just kind of are these little offshoots. So the video that I have going up next week on my channel, I actually shopped my shelves and pulled down like books.
Oh, yes. I love it.
For the book club.
We love a shopping of the shelves.
Yes,
like the gas lamp and like all of that kind of stuff. It's everything that I'm wanting right now. So, I mean, it's perfect for the Gothic Hearts too, right?
Oh man, I got short story collections that fit in there. Oh yeah, okay.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Yes, the line "I am your daughter" is just so creepy. So that's why I had to put it in my intro video last week. I had to stick it in there. It's so creepy. I'm excited to see what you're gonna read, Christine. I'm excited for it too. Non-fiction. David Skull is epic. I need to get to his works too. I didn't know he passed.
Yeah, just I think it just happened last week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was recent. I was like, no, because he's like a legend in like that. He's got like this amazing book that's about the evolution of Dracula from the stage to that first Universal movie, because like there's a big step, because like most of the first Universal 1930s Dracula is based off of the play that was really popular at the time that was being adapted more than the book. So like it goes through like, and Bela Lugosi was a stage Dracula first, and it took a long time for like them to agree to actually give him a chance to be the film one as well. And it's like goes through the evolution of that particular play version of Dracula and how it then eventually got adapted for the movie. So like he's got bigger, wider ones on the history of monster movies, but he's also got like really kind of like tiny get in there if you're a super Dracula nerd, which is unfortunately.
So I don't know how I don't know about this. This sounds so amazing.
It's like nonfiction is like, people don't talk about nonfiction that much, because like usually what happens is like they just take the information, don't credit the person, and then make a YouTube video on it. Like that's like happens so often with where you're just like, what are your sources on this? And so like the people who are like out there like doing the work on like preserving these get forgotten a lot. So maybe that's my angle. It's my angle for the guy.
That's your angle.
Nice.
Thanks so much, Amanda. It's so good to see you. And Virginia, welcome. We always love to have new members to our booktube community. I have to say, like, this is the most amazing community. I know we always say it, but there's very little, very, very little drama in our little corner.
Absolutely. Yeah, everyone's super cool and super nice and supportive. Like, yeah, everyone's just great. So you get like the odd rude person in the comments occasionally, but that's about it, So
usually for me, I usually find out like, now I'm going into a corner of BookTube I don't want to. And the people come in and they're just like, I'm here to defend this very specific Stephen King book. And I was like, I'm not talking about Stephen King for like 2 years now. Bye. I'm talking about other people.
Yeah, I've gotten some like personal attacks about my looks or my weight or whatever, and it's like, dude, I'm talking about books. Like, what the heck?
Fight them all.
Like, why do you have to talk
Why?
about how
There's
big
no-
my belly is? It's
so
stupid.
weird.
I'm talking about books. Like, this is
That's
dumb.
horrible.
That's just horrible and rude.
Or the you know, quoting Bible verses and telling me to come back to God or whatever. And I'm like,
Oh God.
just keep scrolling.
Just keep scrolling. You're not gonna get any new ones here.
This is not a theological channel. He's a legend. The Dracula book is Hollywood Gothic.
It's literally called Hollywood Gothic. That would have, if I had remembered the title like that. Yes, that's amazing.
I need to have this in my life. Thank you guys so much for turning me on to this. That's awesome. I'm actually reading Dracula right now for the first time.
Ooh, cool.
Nice.
That's awesome. I actually remember the first time I read Dracula, I was like 12 because I had read, I think, Interview with the Vampire. And then I wanted to read Dracula. So my mom bought it for me. And then she rented Bram Stoker's Dracula when I was like 12. And I watched it. So
Saucy.
That explains a lot.
When I was older. And I called her and I said, Mom, I was like, you let me watch that when I was like 12 years old?
Yeah, you just literally be like, this is your fault. This is all your
Totally
fault.
your fault.
You put on Bram Stoker's Dracula. Oh.
Thanks for mentioning the lack of citations on YouTube. Yes.
I feel like I feel like occasionally I've done this too. So I'm also trying to keep myself accountable. I can't recall when, but I'm sure I have before. So it's just important to note. Remember to do.
Lauren's upset.
I agree. That's awful. We'll fight him.
Yeah, you know, I know actually, Alex, I remember being on your channel and somebody put like I think you were reading something that was like extreme horror.
Oh, and it's a weirdos. Oh,
and then people are like, why would you read this? You're a terrible person, or you must be.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Occasionally you'll get that. And it's just like, I'm not asking you to read it. So
Right?
what does it matter if I do? Like, how is that even affecting you?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. People just want to insert themselves into other people's lives because I guess they have none of their own. I don't know.
Yeah, there's also like people don't really have like it. So for some people, media literacy in understanding the fact of like you reading something is not your endorsement of something, and also the author writing about something is not their author. Like you're not always reading the author's opinions when you're reading the book, and like that can be kind of like it's harder and harder, especially in today's age. Is when like I just think that should be something we like always teaching in like schools and stuff, and just like proper media literacy to just like I think everyone's just happier in life when you like have that understanding of like, yeah, I can read a book about horrible people. That doesn't mean I'm for the horrible things they're doing. You know what I mean? It just it's hard.
Well, and it's funny because that is one of the things that when I started my channel, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get like terrible people and whatever. But like, I'm not shy with the block button. Just don't even read it. Let it roll off. Just hit block. It's totally fine. Right. Lauren, I'm a big believer in giving credit where credit is due. We're all like that around here. I have a degree in history too, so I'm all about the credit. Absolutely. Hey, Froggy. Good to see ya.
Ribbit.
Hi, Alicia.
Hello.
And Kelsey.
Hello. In the house.
Thanks so much, Crystal. So happy you're here. So Lauren put on my, oh, by the way, for everybody that's here, if
she's getting serious right now. She's like, you know,
this is the live Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask me whatever. So Lauren actually had a really good idea. She said, and I did this, go over to your shelf, close your eyes, and pull down a book and explain the story behind it. So this is a book that's never been on my channel before. So Witches, Druids, and King Arthur by Ronald Hutton. So Ronald Hutton is like a British historian, and he does a lot about like pagan Europe and witch history, druid history, all of that kind of stuff. And this book you can't even get anymore. And I did manage to get it in hardcover a few years ago. And if you're into that kind of thing, Lauren, actually, you might like this one. I would highly recommend it. It's really good. I haven't read it in years. I really should again, but Ronald Hutton is a fantastic historian, and I really like when I'm watching documentaries like on YouTube or whatever, when he's in there, he talks a lot about theology and stuff like that. So I'm actually really glad that when I close my eyes, I pull this one down because
yeah, that's awesome. So is he writing a fiction book based on a horror story, or is it a nonfiction book?
No, this is complete nonfiction. So this is like British history.
That's awesome. And it also, that even more makes me annoyed that it's not more publicly available. It's always like, it's like, it's the worst. It's like, it's like literally nonfiction should be available always. Like, it's the whole point of libraries.
Right? Thank you so much.
Woo!
I kind of dipped under there for a couple of minutes, but I don't care. Whatever. Your subs go up and down, right?
Always.
Thank you so much, Vic. So happy you're here. Yeah, it was a really, really good idea. So I low-key just wish I could go shop everyone's shelves. Yes. Like, I don't know. I know my shelves are spectacular, but I see other people's bookshelves and I'm just so envious. I want to have like each and everyone's library because it's so diverse.
I always get really envious of like the very creatively designed and put together bookcases, because like my brain doesn't work the way that it will allow me to do that, because I'm like, no, it must be in orderly rows, and it must be like, I'm like, because like I don't offer myself much creativity because I'm like, I gotta have organization. And then like the problem with that, if you're trying to like have like a very organized bookshelf, it's legitimately impossible after 2 weeks of whatever sales happen, and you're like, well, I gotta redo everything now.
Well, and that's like me. Like, I mean, I've been thrifting constantly lately, and because my shelves are so organized in like series or like genre or whatever, you bring in new ones and then you've got to kind of try to reorganize everything. And let's not get started about the goddamn stickers on books.
Yeah.
I feel like I could do a video of like, hey, here, want to be sad? Here's a bunch of failed sticker removals, and just like showcase all these books that I'm like, wow, this book is in perfect condition, other than the sticker did a number on it. And I was like, don't talk to me, it's so sad.
I've ruined a few of mine, and it's caused tears because like, trying to get friggin' stickers off.
It's always the perfect looking ones too. Like, it's never the shabby books. It's never the shabby books that it happens to. It's like this is a pristine holy relic. And I'm like, no, Bloodworm by John Helkin, you've been rented. I don't know why that's my holy relic, but
10 minutes in Alex's bookshelves and I'd be happy.
Hey, Amy.
I was always so envious when you had your display behind you of Point Horror.
That was good times. I actually had to take that down because lack of space, basically. I'd just run out of most of my shelves are downstairs in our living room, and I'd filled all of them up. And my husband is constantly like adding more shelves, and like we got to the point where there's literally no more space down there for shelves, and I can't stop buying books. So I was like, I'll get a shelving unit for in here, which is like my little office area. So I guess this is where the display used to be on the wall, but now instead it's shelving. So that still has the Point Horror books up there, but then it also has like the rest of my vintage YA and middle grade books. So it's still, it's still snazzy, and I love looking at it just because of all the books there, which is exciting, but it's not, the covers displayed like it used to be, which is sad, but one day in future, when I have a castle and I can devote at least one whole room to books.
Just the castle library is the ultimate dream.
So like, Christine is saying, imagine if we could pull all of our books together for one giant library.
That would be amazing.
It's like the booktuber like library somewhere, and it's just like
and it would be haunted and accursed.
Yes,
and it'd be a fireplace. It'd be a nice fireplace. A cat.
You need to have the fireplace and the rolling ladder,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I've always wanted a rolling ladder, even though I know I will die if I can. It won't go well, but I wanted it. At least I could die how I live.
So the hardcover of Krampus. So I've been wanting one, and I've been holding off on getting the paperback. And I walked into Value Village the other day and found one. It was pristine for $6, and typically I would spend $6 for a thrift book. But
they have to
get it.
They up to charging $6 in your Value Village now.
Well,
Like,
it kind of varies. It
yeah, I
varies.
miss. They used to have like before they had the stickers. It was really easy because because it would just be based on the price, and then you can get like.
Yes.
It's so annoying now that all the prices have raised. This is a Value Village rant, I guess, but for Canadians only. But like now they have the annoying stickers to try to remove, and you're like, I hate these stickers. They're my nightmare. And it's also like books that used to be $2.99, they're now like, well, now it's $4.99. I'm like, but it wouldn't be that. Why?
Like why?
You
Why?
get these for
Well,
free. They're free.
I am actually known to haggle with them. I'm like, this soft cover is $1.99. Why is this one $2.49? So they actually just scan the cheaper one twice.
Oh, see,
So-
yeah. That's a good Value Village. So, like back in the day when they didn't have the actual scanners, they would always be like, "Oh, well, it seems like we forgot to scan this book," and just like give me free books occasionally, and I'm just like, "I like you, thank you."
You really got to watch them though, because we have do you have it there too, Andrew, or is buy 4 get 1 free?
Yeah.
And you really got to watch them because sometimes they just it doesn't register or whatever.
Yeah.
So you really got to watch them.
I always find the 5th book is always garbage anyways, because I'm like, I found 4 books I want. One of these, I have a free book, and then you like look at, there's nothing good here. So that's when I get like this dumb sci-fi book that I will never read, and I will unhaul in like 2 years. But I'm like, I don't know, there's a space alien on it, sure.
And just buy this one. Everybody ranting about stickers on covers. Like we've got to stage like a petition or something to get the stickers taken off like thrift books.
Yes, especially thrift books when they like sell you a legitimately a perfect book, and you're like, I got a thrift books one the other day that had 3 stickers on it. It had the sticker from thrift books, it had the sticker from Value Village, which by the way, I spent more than they spent on the Value Village, and I was like, thanks. And then it had the original price tag on it from wherever it came from originally. And I'm like, oh, and I got 2 of them off perfectly, and then the Value Village one was like blink, 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 and I'm just like,
Oh, no.
this is my life. This is my life. No.
Okay, so just going to Instagram again from my friend Marissa at Spooky Sellables, where I get a lot of my vintage books.
Ooh.
Check out her Etsy shop. It's always linked in my videos. What horror author do you think is overhyped, and which author doesn't get enough love? Might be controversial, but I think Anne Rice might be overhyped a little. And the reason is because when she writes her books, it's almost like she doesn't know which way the story is going. So it just kind of meanders. So there's no like structure. So she just kind of allows the story to take her wherever she wants to go. And for me personally, I prefer a little bit more structure, I guess, in my story. So I would have to say her for being overhyped a little bit. However, I do still enjoy her and I enjoy her writing. But sometimes it's like, dude, get to the point already. Seriously.
Oh.
Really? And I mean, horror author that's not hyped enough. That one might be putting me on the spot, actually. Actually, you know what? R.L. Stine is kind of overhyped too. I mean, he's good. He's really good.
You're coming for old Steiny. You're coming for him. You're like, get out of here, Stein.
I mean, he's had so many books; they can't all be winners.
No, like if I had to pick between, and I think actually it was on the Jersey Ghouls we were talking about this on Jackie's podcast. If I were to choose, I would pick Christopher Pike over R.L. Stine.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well,
oh actually, no, you're down to 500. Everyone left. They're like, no, we're Stein heads. We're out of here.
I just exposed myself and I'm going to lose everybody. Lizzie's canceled. There's no more. But yeah, no, I think Christopher Pike is actually underappreciated as a vintage author.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm trying to think. for me, so this is probably more of a factor is that I have not read the best books by this author yet. I have never found myself fully in love with the James Herbert book yet. So but I've only read his Animal Attacks. I didn't love the Rats trilogy, but then I haven't read a lot of his more classical good stuff. I will say an asterisk versus I just think maybe the Rats is overhyped in my opinion. And I think that's probably more accurate than him as a whole. But for underrated, I actually think they were rated highly in their day, but I feel like people don't give them the props that much nowadays. And again, I haven't read a lot by them, but I actually really like John Skip and Craig Spector. And I think that they kind of get poo-pooed. Even there's a modern book I was reading and they were oh, the light at the end sucks. And I was like, well, why'd you put this here? I like the light at the end anyways. But so I think, but both of those are probably not authors that I have a very informed opinion of. Those are just off the top of my heads.
Have you read The Fog by James Herbert? That's a really good one.
Okay, I need to get back into that one because I got the first 10 pages into that one, and then I just wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't feeling it because I was hoping for a giant fog, but they were currently still in a earthquake. But I think I'm gonna go back and try to reread that in old school April. That'll be a goal. More James Herbert.
Cool. I mean, it has been years since I've read it, but I remember it being pretty mental. So that's always fun.
I mean, that's good. That's up my cup of tea.
Yeah, overrated. I mean, the obvious one is Stephen King, so it kind of almost feels pointless to say it because I feel everyone thinks he is somewhat overrated. I mean, I'm not a hater. I do enjoy some of his work, but I feel at some point he got to that point of fame where he could just write whatever he wants and no one was going to edit it or anything. So it was just but yeah, I think underrated. The first person that came to mind is Stephen Gregory, and the reason he was on my mind was because he passed away the other day. I saw online, and he I've only read 2 of his books, but they were ones that came out in the 80s, I think. One of them was called The Cormorant, and one was called The Wood Witch, and they are both exceptional novels. They lean a bit more to the literary end of horror. They're really slow burns, but super disturbing. They go to some really dark places, and his writing style is really great. So, but yeah, I think there was a period a couple of years ago when The Cormorant kind of did the rounds on Bookstagram, some of the bigger accounts read it and talked about it, and but that's really the only kind of blip of talk I've really seen of his work. So yeah, I definitely think more people should give him a chance.
We could live in a castle with a moat with all of our books. I like this idea.
Sounds good.
Oh, axolotls in the moat. Nice. That's a dumb joke. That's a dumb joke from a sprint.
Thank you so much, Cliff.
Hey, Cliff.
I know Gothic horror is not your thing. Haunted houses are not your thing, but I'm so happy that we're friends. So.
I wish I could live in a haunted house. I wish. You know how much it costs for a house nowadays? I want a ghost in. If I'm paying all that money for a house, there better be a ghost in it. It's the housing market is cray-cray, but if they confirmed that there was a ghost in the house, I would pay the money.
So funny enough, because everybody knows this by now. I grew up in a haunted house. So in my adult life, I'm I want a haunted Victorian because that's what I grew up in. And I watch these, these true haunting shows where people come on and they tell their experiences of living in a house and stuff. And there's always, and it's typically women, they're oh, I want a Victorian. It's always been my dream to have an old Victorian. But then they're surprised when it's haunted. And it's dude, it was built in 1900. It's going to be haunted.
I'm pretty sure it's been haunted since its construction. There's no way it was ethically built. It's all been done.
Hi, Cameron. Thank you so much for
Hello.
stopping in. Stickers on the books.
No, them.
Skip Inspector, I'm reading right now. Yeah. Do we have? I've been neglecting the comment section. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh no, they're gonna revolt against us.
Yeah, they're all leaving. Robert McCammon is my number one. Yes.
Oh,
You know
McCamey.
what? I've been wanting to. Every time Kelsey talks about Mark Morris, I want to pick up one of his books, and then I never do.
Yeah,
You should. He's amazing.
Yeah, I think that I hear that they're trying to like eventually get some of those back into more modern editions of those. Like I hope so. They're just hard to find now. Is like because like especially like the like I really want to read Toady, but I don't want to read the Horror Club. I want to read Toady. So like I really hope eventually like a lot of his books are available again. For like purchase because it's just tough to find a lot of Mark Morris books.
I read my first McCammon in 2023. It was Ball, and apparently that's supposed to be one of his not so great books, and I can see why, but I really loved it, so I can't wait to read more McCammon.
I like me Mama Cammy. I've only not liked the one, but that'll forever be used against me. It's fine.
Give me a ghost. Exactly. Yes. Give all the ghosts. I want all the ghosts in my house. It's it just adds character. It adds character. Were you scared growing up in that house? Not usually. I had tea parties with my ghost friends. And there was a little boy and a little girl, and there was some other specters as well, but there was one that was really super scary, and he didn't show himself very much, but
well, that's good.
He was kind of scary, but for the most part it was very benign. It was just kind of like people walking up and down the stairs or whatever. We had a very creaky staircase, so you could hear like
classic.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, it was the epitome of like the creepy Victorian, and it like the windows were loose in their frames.
Oh, yeah.
So, and of course in Newfoundland we had like epic storms, so like the windows would rattle, and it was everything. It was everything for a spooky girl like me to be growing up in a house like that.
Amazing.
It was fantastic.
I will be right back.
Makes me so happy you like Ball because I loved it too, but a lot of people don't. So and I can see the problem with Ball because the pacing isn't very good. Have you read that one, Alex?
I have not. I've read a few of his, but not that one.
So it's kind of like it has like this adventure element where it kind of starts out in the States and it kind of moves around to different places around the globe. And the beginning is so good, and it's like bam, 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 bam. But then the last place they are, it takes up like the whole second half of the book. So it's like the pacing is just kind of off, and they could have, the second part of the book probably could have been cut in half, but it's really good. I really enjoyed his writing. So I know Boy's Life is Kelsey's jam, and I've been wanting to read that one. And Swan Song has also been recommended as well.
Yeah, that one was one of my favorites of last year. Really, really good. It's really long.
It's long,
well worth it. Yeah.
I think I was looking at the audiobook, and it's like, I don't know, 45 hours.
Wow. Oh my God. That's crazy.
It's kind of intimidating. I don't know. Like, I have no problem reading long books, but it's just kind of like in the past couple of years, like I get super intimidated.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, even though I have enjoyed a lot of the long books I have tackled, I'm still like hesitant to pick one up because I think I'm not a very good DNFer. And so I don't want to like, get stuck into like a 1,000-page one and then end up not enjoying it by the time I've reached the end. So yeah. But
my goal is, I was talking to Amy last week on one of her sprints, and my goal is to read it this year.
Nice.
And I think the only reason why I haven't is because of that scene. that I've been made aware of. And I'm like, at least I know what's going to be coming, and maybe I can kind of skim over it so I could enjoy the rest of the book. But I really like coming of age kind of stories.
It's a really excellent one. I loved that one, actually. Yeah, would definitely recommend it. And yeah, like you say, at least you're aware of that being a part of it, so you won't be like completely, thrown by it when it happens. Yeah.
I have to say, I tried to watch the newer It movies. Actually, I didn't even watch the second one, but the first one, I didn't like it that much. Am I going to lose more subscribers for this? I don't know.
I mean, they're like 3 hours, both of them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're going to be losing too many subscribers. They were like, I think they were like that. Those two movies are like the epitome of like, was huge when they came out. And like the iconography of Pennywise is still like, but like, I don't hear anyone talk about those actual movies anymore. Like, you see the iconography of like Pennywise being the Pennywise, but like that's it. That's like the only staying power it seems like that had. Because like everyone thought it was going to start a big Stephen King renaissance for like remaking the movies. When we saw all the other movies they made, and we're like, oof.
Yeah. Christine, Buddy Reed of Boy's Life, maybe.
Boy's Life.
Hi, Regina. Thank you so much for stopping by. I think you can skip that part of it.
Oh, we're talking about that part of it. I should have known coming in. We're talking about just, it's almost so weird how it goes from 37 to 39. There's no chapter 38. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Every year is my goal to read it. Maybe we'll have to organize like a group read of
That's
it.
a long book. That is a long book.
When I said it would be my first read of 2024. Love how SK poked fun at himself in the movies about his horrible endings. That's okay. I mean, people are going to kind of drop in and out, I think. I agree, Andrew. The It movie legacy doesn't really feel all that's salient years out from its initial release. And I mean, that happens with a lot of things. You know what I'm just really annoyed with lately, like if we switch to movie talk, is there's no new ideas. Everything is a remake or a prequel or a sequel or whatever. And it's like, I get it. And I get the whole nostalgia thing as the old lady rants while eating her diabetic candy.
It's for like a lot of things now, it's just like so much harder to find, because like they are still making cool new independent movies, cool like new idea, but the problem is it's not easy to find those. Like you have to be, half the time they go straight to streaming, especially in Canada, Elizabeth. We don't have half of the streaming platforms. So like when you go to the big movie theaters, a lot of times you're right. Like I feel like this year was not as good as even last year, because like I think I'm thinking of 2022. Oh god, it's 2024. I think 2022 had some cool stuff, because like I liked X and Pearl, and I thought Barbarian was pretty great. But like aside from like Talk to Me in 2023, there weren't a lot of like newer original idea horror movies that I felt like really were compelling me, or that I saw. It's just so hard to see the stuff that's really interesting nowadays. It just keeps getting harder and harder each year, it seems.
Well, and I'm in this whole renaissance right now of like canceling most of my streaming services, because I'm just done with them. I'm done with them. The price keeps going up. Every time you log in to try to find something that was there last week, it's gone. And then I think it was, I can't even remember what movie and it was like something you'd probably find for 99 cents in a thrift store. And we were in the mood to watch it, and all of the streaming services we had, nobody had it. You had to rent or buy. So like I've gone back to hunting for DVDs, like my DVDs.
Well, yeah. It's kind of what you have to do. And there's like, especially when you like, I'm a person who loves trash. I'm a trashy person. And it's harder to even find my good old trash. It's like Tubi is the only dependable streaming service for my trashy tastes anymore. Like the only one who can actually serve me is Tubi, and it's just like
Froggy, we have to read Lit or It this year. That's it. If you've had a hold on it since 2022, let's do it. Let's go. I think Regina's laughing at my old lady eating my diabetic candy and my diabetic chocolate, my diet Pepsi. I had my sugars retested today. I'm kind of scared to see the results. I'm not gonna lie. Froggy read it on the long ass plane ride. Rob,
I actually did read it on a long plane journey a few years ago. So yeah, perfect for a long plane journey. I had a kid behind me kicking my goddamn seat the entire time. Parents somewhere completely else in the plane left them for me to deal with. It was horrific. So thankfully I had it to like, you know, take my attention away from killing someone.
Alex is like reading it. She's like, yes, get him, Pennywise.
Yeah, exactly.
Get him.
I've heard so much about Swan Song and Boy's Life. Like maybe I should do like a whole year of like coming of age. So read It, read Boy's Life. There's another one. I think it's Endless Summer or Summer's Night or something I've got over there.
Yeah.
That's another one.
I would say maybe do a tentative project for that and see if you're into it. For like it could be very dangerous being like, let's do a year of this. Then you get to the first book, you're like, oh, I don't like this at all.
I don't think I want to do this anymore.
You're in it now.
Swan Song is going to be made into a movie or maybe a TV show. That's interesting.
Greg Nicotero, he's going back.
Was Smile 2023? Actually, I really liked Smile.
I like Smile too.
I really, really did, and they're doing a part 2 this year. So I'm interested to see where that one's going to go. But I actually did like that one. I know a lot of people didn't, but
what is it going to be called? Like Still Smiling? Like,
I think it's
Pearly Whites. Smile 2, Pearly Whites.
God. So even Prime, Amazon Prime now, I got that note where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna start putting ads in your streaming service, and you have to pay another $2.99 a month if you don't want ads. It's like, what are you doing?
It's so funny. The more the streaming service starts cracking down on multiple accounts, the less of them I have, because I'm just like, well, can't get my mom's Netflix anymore, so I'm never doing that again. And then it's like, now Prime is like the only one where they're like, we don't care, and I'm like, okay, thank goodness. I'm doing that for now, but it's so annoying.
That's the current plan, Christine. I picture Alice turning around.
Oh my God. It should have done. She was something else. Like there were 2 of them behind me and my husband, and we were just like the unluckiest people on that entire flight. It was insane.
Whenever I'm in that situation where there's like an annoying kid behind me, like kicking my thing, I go instantly to their like TV options, and I find that think of something that will just traumatize the kid. I was like, Alien, skip to the chest burster scene and just keep playing it on repeat. Like,
So funny story. I remember I was actually on a work trip, and I was coming back to Calgary, and there was this sweet old couple sitting next to me on the flight, and the old man was in the middle seat, and he was watching John Wick.
Nice.
And God bless him, he was there, and he was like doing this. Yes. And he's like 75, and I'm like, you were the cutest man in the world.
So funny. We're getting into it.
Although
Lauren, I will say, a lot of horror movies get edited for the plane. They take all of the best bits.
Do they?
Yeah, especially on Canadian flights. I'm like, what is this? Why? Come on.
So you get the edited for TV version.
Yeah. Although sometimes that can be funny if it's like a sweary movie. It's like, ever watch a Martin Scorsese movie, like the TV edit? It's very funny.
I remember catching The Silence of the Lambs on American TV once, and it was dubbed, and it was like, I'd marry me. It was hilarious. Oh my God, it's like one of the funniest things I've ever encountered.
I always think of one of my favorites is, for some reason, the Thing TV edit. You know, I see where he's like, F you two. Like, in the TV edit, he's like, "Flash you two," and you're like, "What?" And then he like throws it and it blows up, and I'm like, "Why did he say flash you too?" It makes no sense.
Oh my god.
Lauren, I think you would really like Smile actually with the whole psychology sort of element to it. I would highly recommend because I would like you to do an analysis of that one.
Oh yeah, I think that'd be a good movie to do an analysis.
Yeah, it is. I think so.
It worked really well in the theaters. I was like, "Whoa!"
Hello, thank you so much for dropping by.
Dog.
Bye, Regina. Doggy duty. It's always more important. Yeah, I was actually gonna talk a little bit about movies that are coming up in 2024. I think 2024 is we've got a few, but there's a new one that I saw the trailer just last week. I think Abigail, which looks really good.
Oh yeah,
That does look kind of fun.
It looks interesting. I'm interested to see how that goes. I hope it goes.
I've really been into horror comedies the past few years.
I like it as a genre, but I can be very picky about horror comedies occasionally where I'm just like, you have failed to pass the comedy portion.
You know what movie I watched that was the most hilarious, cheesy thing I've ever seen, but in the best way, was Dolls.
Oh,
yes.
Dolls. I've meant to. That's like one of the few movies in his catalog I actually haven't seen, so I need to watch Dolls.
It's hilarious.
It's just normally not a trope that I like, but I'm finding I've more and more stuff that I do like. Like I enjoyed the Chucky movies because Chucky is Chucky. He's not really a killer doll. He's Chucky, you know. But he is a doll, but whatever. But it's not like a normal trope that I go to. But like I found like more and more I like pick up things. I'm like, oh, I kind of like this, so I need to check out Dolls.
Yeah, you do. It's not easy to find, but
last Old School April, Amy did like a live stream of Dolls. I need to ask her where she found it because I don't know where she found it.
I think I rented it off of, might have been just iTunes.
Oh yeah, classic iTunes.
Yeah.
It's still dependable. I'm not gonna lie, but everyone goes like, "Oh, the things will just disappear," and I'm like, well, I don't know. I bought it for $2 and I got it for like 10 years. If it disappears, okay, I'll just pirate it. I don't care.
I still haven't seen Megan.
I think Megan's fun.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah,
yeah.
And did you see the new one that they got coming out with the teddy bear? Imaginary,
No.
I think it's called.
That one doesn't
teddy bear.
look so good, in my opinion. Anyway, maybe it's great.
It's what's his name, like Chester or something like that, and it's going to be terrible. It's going to be absolutely terrible.
It is very strange. I don't know. Are there any killer teddy bear movies other than Girls' Night Out, which is a guy in a teddy bear costume with a bunch of knives taped to his paws? But
and I think that's probably what they were going for here. They were like, possessed doll. Why don't we do possessed teddy bear? Like.
I mean,
yeah, exactly. Let's try and get the same hit on this. Yeah.
I mean, one of the best vintage horror covers is like The Keeper of the Children, where it's like the decapitated teddy bear with the axe, and it's like, I'm a teddy bear, but you're dead.
I would recommend it, Christine. I want to hear your thoughts on Smile. It's one of those ones, either you like it or you hate it. So, Abigail is a Universal monster. I didn't know that. Universal monster movie.
Interesting. I feel like they need to get back because they like did a new version of the Invisible Man and then they announced a bunch of things and didn't do any more of Universal monster movies. I'm like, come on, man, where's my Drakis? We got plenty of Dracula last year. That's a bad example. Frankenstein,
yeah. Isn't there a new Frankenstein coming out?
I hope so.
Oh, there's the Lisa Frankenstein.
Oh, right.
Which actually looks really fun.
That's a Diablo Cody one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait. I love it.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
I watched No One Will Save You on Hulu, and it was interesting and different. I have no dialogue. Oh.
I've been meaning to see that, but I haven't.
I like unsettling. I really like unsettling movies. I do.
It's really a crapshoot in Canada whether Hulu original movies will make it to Disney Plus, because here Disney Plus you'll get the Hulu originals sometimes, because sometimes if it's Hulu acquisitions, no. If it's a Hulu original movie, yes, you'll get it. And if it's an acquisition, the rights are in different people's hands in Canada, so you never know where it's at. So there are certain movies where for ages. You're like, how do I even watch this? Like the new Hellraiser movie was hard to find until eventually it became rent from somewhere else. It was okay, but it was an interesting idea. But that was normally would have just been on Hulu. I could have watched it, but no.
You need to make a killer Teddy. I like this idea. Actually, my husband was, let's just say he was feeling very relaxed a few weeks ago when we actually watched a Teddy Ruxpin episode on TV, and he fully enjoyed that with the kind of mood that he was in, if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, good old Teddy Ruxpin.
It would be almost impossible. So I've just come to the realization that they're just ruining everything.
Elizabeth, fully optimistic going into this. Fully optimistic. I'm feeling the optimism. It's just like, oh, this is gonna suck. I mean, you're not wrong. There's been plenty of bad adaptations.
That's like when we were doing our live show with the Haunted Victorian Book Club, and one of the characters in the book had died, and I was like, I'm really glad so and so died. And it just, I'm gonna get put on a shirt. I'm getting a merch line, and I'm just gonna put it on a shirt. I'm really glad that she died.
The church says this sucks.
See, this is why I don't have any friends, because they're like, why can't you just be happy and normal?
It doesn't fit the Victorian lifestyle. None of those characters are happy. All the Gothic characters are like, I have a beautiful house and a beautiful thing, but there's a weird dude. He's chasing me as I'm running away from the castle. And you're like, oh, that's not good.
I think they could do it as a show, but not a movie.
I mean, so, if they commit to giving me lizard faces, I'm in. That's the whole. You have to go fully in. I want to see lizard faces. That's my line. At one point in that movie,
you get that on a T-shirt.
My line is little lizard faces.
Elizabeth, I saw you got the Blair Witch book in your book. Yes.
You found one of the Blair Witch, like the novels?
So, and most people on that commented on my most recent haul, they were like, I didn't even know this existed, and neither did I. I thought maybe everybody else would be like, how did you not know these existed? But it's like the Blair Witch Files, and like each book has a different, like this guy has like a website, the blairwitchfiles.com, and you can submit like your experiences with the Blair Witch.
That's so interesting and weird. I kind of like it.
I can't wait to read that book. Cool. I want to do a whole vlog. I got to do a whole vlog around this book because I was so excited to find. It was like $1.99, and I was like, "What is this?"
Nice.
Used books like that go for dumb prices.
Yeah,
and I should know. I needed money, and I had to list some of those, and I listed them low, and they went for crazy prices online. Like Scream Factory, that Halloween Scream Factory, I needed the money, so I had to like sell it. And like I started at I think it was like $70, which is like low end, and it got up to $200. Someone bought that book for $200, and I'm
what?
Like, I guess I'm packaging this really nice because I guess this person really wants this copy of Scream Factory.
Listen, it's always shenanigans when Andrew and I are getting together. Okay? Always shenanigans, and now we have Jackie, so it's going to be more freaking shenanigans.
Oh, just in time for shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
So, Jackie, we were just talking about that Blair Witch book that I found.
Oh, you know what? I only recently also realized they existed, and like that was like the first thought of like, okay, now I got to find all of these.
Yeah. I'm like, where do I find more of these things? And I have a funny feeling that not a lot of people know about them. So I'm hoping that I can get them at a fairly cheap price.
Yeah.
Not like, Christopher Pikes that are going for like $20 these days.
Wow. I keep maybe somewhere. You always get a hope when places that normally list books if they don't know the price of it sometimes. So like maybe a Better World Books. You might find a good price there because sometimes it goes there for.
There's a couple of Etsy shops that I usually stock, and I don't think they know the worth of some of the books that they're selling.
Yeah, that's occasional.
And then I just snap it up.
Yeah.
Blair Witch was filmed down the road from me, which is very cool because just like to go in those woods would be awesome. No, you didn't miss it. You're here. Hello, Kelly.
oh my god, what if the frog is like the Blair Witch's frog, and like that's she has the Blair Witch frog in her thing. She's just like, this was the frog of the Blair Witch. Ribbit, ribbit.
The witch is familiar.
Yeah. Or I don't know, the goth girl from Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows. She probably
Did you guys see the it was like a Blair Witch mockumentary that they made?
Oh, yeah, I think I actually have that on VHS. Like there was The Curse of the Blair Witch. I think that was the one that was like the mockumentary made right. And then there was a Blockbuster exclusive one.
Sticks and Stones.
Yeah, Sticks and Stones. I own Sticks and Stones.
I think that's the one I saw. I think that's the one.
I know that the Curse of the Blair Witch is preserved on the Blu-rays and DVDs of most copies of the Blair Witch, but I don't know about Sticks and Stones. I think Sticks and Stones might be a little bit harder to find.
I remember because I had rented it out after, like, however long it came out after the regular Blair Witch. And I did tell the story that watching the Blair Witch for the first time is like a core memory for me because my dad and I watched it on VHS.
Aww.
And then we rewound it and watched the entire thing through again because we were just blown away by this movie because it was like really the first found footage thing, right? And it's, I don't know, I have an undying love for Blair Witch. Some people are like,
Same.
Oh, I love Blair Witch, and then like I love bad Blair Witch sequels too. I have no taste when it comes to. Give me all the Blair Witch. I'll take it all. Take me to Burkittsville. That's my dream.
None of those actors really did anything after, I don't think.
There was the one of the actors in that appeared in like a movie that was like a big surprise. It was like somebody gets. Like it was like a stalker movie, and like the stalker is the person who gets them committed to an asylum and is one of the keepers. I'm trying to remember what that movie is called. Is it Sane?
I know the one guy, Josh.
Yeah,
I think I've seen him pop up in a couple movies.
I think it was Josh. Yeah.
But then Heather apparently has changed her name and is now she was in medicinal cannabis sales.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. She's like, you want to get contact with the Blair Witch? Pay up.
Yeah. She wrote a book and everything, but I believe it's under whatever the name I don't know what the name she changed to. She wrote a book about it.
I hope all of the strains are like based off of Blair Witch.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you call like the stick things? Give me a Burkittsville blue, please.
Yeah, I'll take an icky dicky man.
So I'm actually really glad that when I talked about the Blair Witch book that I found, that everybody was like, oh, I didn't know these existed, because you wouldn't believe the amount of Instagram messages that I get that people are like, I can't believe you haven't read this or whatever. And I'm like,
why do people, I never understand the idea of shaming someone for an experience they haven't had yet. Just like go like, hey, you haven't seen it? That's awesome. You get to experience this awesome thing for the first time. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's always, that idea has always baffled me. We're just like,
Well, and it's just, there's so many books. And one thing that I want to do this year is try to shift into reading more of my vintage collection, because like I just get distracted by, ooh, new and shiny. And, I'll read that instead of, reading from my vintage collection, which is the horror that I prefer. Right. So then I get upset because something like The September House comes out, which I hated. And it makes out to be like this spooky haunted house book where the walls bleed and everything, and you get into it and it's actually like a family drama.
Oh, come on. Like bleeded houses? Like what if it like bleed wine or something and it's like the best wine you've ever tasted? So it's like, like that would be cool. I don't know. There's ideas for haunted houses.
The Van and the Horrible Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows. My friend sold to the director of the movie.
I would buy that van. I would still buy that van.
Yeah.
We have the best conversations. We never seen the movie. You need to get on that one, Froggy.
I mean, you might be living it. You don't know.
I remember seeing the Blair Witch at theaters. Who was it that told somebody commented? Jackie, was it you that commented that the movie glitched? when you went to see it on my
No, it
video?
wasn't me.
I can't remember who commented.
No,
And they
I'm
were
the one
like,
that glitched because I thought it was real.
well, so did I. So I think we all did.
Yeah, well, I remember it came out in 1999, and I remember back when they used to release movies to like limited audiences first before they would do the big release. I went to see a limited release in Philadelphia with a friend of mine, and I knew nothing about it, and we watched it, and I was flabbergasted. And then like 2 weeks later, I see Heather on like Letterman or something, and I was like, "Oh, you bastards!"
You're like David Letterman. He found the people of the black.
He found them. He gets the reward money. Yeah, like I was quite convinced this was maybe like a dramatization, but it was 1,000% real. And actually, it's only been in very recent years that I realized that Burkittsville was an actual for real town. I thought it was all made up. But I actually I was at a convention and I met the mayor of Burkittsville.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
Yeah.
The best thing ever, man.
Yeah.
I'm like
I
so
thought, and you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'll say it. I thought he was just like, we were at a horror convention. I thought he was kind of blowing smoke, and so I went on the Burkittsville website, and there he was.
He
There's
was
the picture of the
actually
mayor.
the mayor of
He was
Burkittsville.
actually the mayor of Burkittsville.
I
love
the
this.
Burkittsville hanging out at a horror convention.
So Blair Witch is actually kind of one of my comfort movies as well. It's one of those movies that we save for a very specific time of year, like right before Halloween, where it's like really spooky and chilly.
Or like,
and
if you're thinking about
clothes
going out and doing something like hiking or something like that, and you want to be like, no, you watch that and you go, okay, I'm out.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm over it.
I'm over it. No more
Absolutely
hiking.
not. So the first Paranormal Activity, I love the first Paranormal Activity movie, but the other ones just
The only one that I really love actually is the third one, which is a weird one. I actually really
love
like
the first
third
three.
one. Yeah.
yeah, I remember I watched the second one and I was like, what the heck? Oh, Christine. So Christine commented on my video. She said she went to see the Blair Witch in theater, and like the player, like the movie actually glitched out like in the middle of the movie, and everybody thought it was like haunted, and it just made the whole experience way scarier.
That's
And I was like, I would have loved for that to have happened the first time I would have seen it. I would have been panicked, and it would have been great. Haven't seen most scary horror movies. I mean, it's fair. It's it's a certain type of people. But I mean, even within horror, like I'm not into like Saw or Human Centipede or like any of those types. I don't know. And then some people say to me, "Well, you're not a real horror lover, doing the gatekeeping."
Those people are wrong.
That's so weird. I like some of those movies. I like the Saw movies, but actually I only like them for the last 10 minutes where someone goes da-na-na, da-na-na, and it just like, makes sense. None of this is logical. It's like da-na-na, da-na, and I'm only there for the theme drop. Like if I could only go to the movies and show up the last like if you showed me when the theme drop was gonna happen, I would show up and then I'd leave. Theme drop and then
If you guys have never ever read Nightmare Fuel, it's a really good book about the psychology and the nature of like horror movies and the type of people who are attracted to like different types of horror movies. Like some people are into jump scares and like this is the psychology behind it, or some people are into things that would make other people throw up, and this is kind of this, and they talk about the different movies that would go with each thing. It was really good. I think it was a like seriously underhyped book.
That sounds interesting.
I wonder what they would say about my tastes. Oh no.
We need to,
The
we
kind
need to shrink Andrew to find out what's behind it all.
What is your attraction to the most trashiest films of all time? Shot on video with poor sound.
My heart can't take it. I get it, the jump scares, but it's so funny because I get that like intense anxiety, but it's almost like you're addicted to it. It freaked me out at the same time because it was nice to have a break. Yeah. I thought it was real at the time. Yeah, I think a lot of us did, but it was almost like, one of those things that's like, I really think this is real, but is it? I don't know. It was a brilliant marketing campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for such a, a low budget film. I mean, it costs like what, 50 grand to make or something? Probably not even that much.
Yeah, the actual making of that movie is super fascinating, where they like gave them like really general like feelings, and then they sent them out in the woods, and like they would
Yes.
go out and find like packages from the filmmakers to open up and get the directions for like, oh, what's gonna happen at night? What are we supposed to do tomorrow? And it's like they actually don't talk to them; they like open up like a little thing. It's like a super interesting way to make a movie.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for dropping by and joining the conversation. Someone's written a Rambo versus Blair Witch. What?
Wow.
To beat a witch, you have to become a witch. So just reading Wicca books, getting a cat.
So yeah, so I actually I can't remember if I saw it in a show or if I read it somewhere, but like when they were in the tent, they didn't know that they were going to start like banging on the sides of the tent and stuff. So the reactions you're seeing are really believable, and I think it's brilliant. Bye, Cliff. Thank you so much for dropping by. I haven't ever been interested in Saw, so I never even bothered. I really didn't.
They're not especially good, but that theme drop.
But it just isn't my brand of horror. Like I like slashers, I guess, but when it comes to Saw or like Hostel was another one that came
like
out.
that whole torture porn genre. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either.
Yeah, no musical drops in Hostel, so I was never that interested.
I did like Hostel, but yeah, I like a bit of it. It's not my go-to subgenre though, but I do enjoy some of them.
Yeah, and you read kind of more along the lines of the extreme horror, like even in books, more so than I do too. So
a little bit, yeah, I do like that. I like the quiet stuff as well though, so I like a bit of everything, I guess. Yeah.
She's like, come on, psychologist. I like it all. What are you going to say about me? Jump scares, quiet horror, extreme. What are you going to do? Like,
first Saw takes a little while to get good.
Yeah.
I don't know by what good you mean. till the torture starts. I would highly recommend it. I listened to it on audio when I was cleaning one day, and I was fully enthralled. Definitely got all my blinds wiped down and everything. It was terrible. That's pretty cool. I really like that idea. I mean, it's got to be a pretty big tourist attraction for horror fans like us, right?
Yeah, there has to be a Burkittsville haunted hayride where you go through. There has to be, and like the Blair Witch goes like, wah, and like jumps out and be like, Rrr. You're like, oh my goodness.
Andrew, we need to get on this. We need to move down there and open up a Burkittsville haunted hayride.
That would be amazing. And like all the people are like, we're here for serious horror stuff, and you're like, nah, it's a hayride.
Oh, the mystery of why they were being punished. Okay. I don't know a whole lot about it, so I don't know.
Always very petty things. And like that's half the reason why the dun-na-na part is so good, where he's like, you cut me off on the road. Dun-na-na. You're like, okay, dude. Like, that's just basic traffic laws. You don't need to murder him for it.
I saw a ranking video of all the Saw movies the other day, so I know what happened in them all, but didn't have to get scared by them. So I mean, it's one way. It's kind of like, I watched all of these and I'm going to tell you about it so you don't have to.
Yes.
You know? Hello, Horror Gardener. Thank you so much for stopping in. Yeah. So if any, like I said, still live Q&A. So if anybody has any questions,
and I'll get some answers. I keep having the thought every 5 minutes. It's just like I say something in my head is like dun-na-na. I'm like, no, stop doing the thought theme drop, brain. You gotta stop.
So there's an announcement video coming out tomorrow.
Ooh.
I had a private goal that I didn't tell anybody about that I was going to do when I hit 1,000 subscribers.
I hope it's not hide a body, or else I'm gonna have a lot of to star in a soft film.
I'm going to become the next Ghostface in Scream 7.
Excellent.
You're good right now, man.
Is that even still happening? Because I know like a couple of the actresses dropped out or something. Like,
and the director walked.
Director walked. Everyone's walking. Oh well, you know.
I know they are making a new Nosferatu this year, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
I
think
haven't
Willem
seen.
As
Dafoe
long as he doesn't look
is
Yes.
Nosferatu,
Yeah.
which makes me so happy because he
Wait.
was
Wasn't he
Max
Nosferatu?
Schreck, who played Nosferatu in
Yeah.
Shadow of the Vampire. Have you
Yeah.
seen that movie?
Oh yeah, that's really good.
I love Shadow of the Vampire. I think is such an underrated vampire movie. And yeah,
Yeah.
he plays Max Schreck playing Nosferatu in that movie. So with him playing Nosferatu
Yeah.
in this remake, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was in this new
I,
one, so
I
that's really
you know what?
cool.
I could be making it up, but I'm pretty sure that I had read that he was playing Nosferatu.
Is
Yeah,
it
I think
Robert
you're right on
Eggers?
that.
Is Robert Eggers doing that? Like the guy who did the Lighthouse doing Nosferatu?
I
It's
think
like,
so, yeah.
yeah, because I like always the most like artsy fartsy ones get the Nosferatus because you know we had Werner Herzog doing Nosferatu back in the 70s, and oh man, that's a wild one.
I really need to get more into like watching 60s and 70s horror movies just to kind of break out of the, you know, just the rut that I've been in with just rewatching everything. And
Random, but the first thing that came to mind, since we're talking about vampires and then you said 70s movies, Daughters of Darkness is like an incredible
Ooh, that's
vampire
good.
film
I've
that is like
heard
really
about it.
unique for like, you know, vampire movies, but like
I see.
just so good. It's so good. But like
Is
I
that
think
Canadian? Is that the Canadian one?
I don't know. I'm
I'm
not
not sure. I'm not sure.
For
I
some
fact
reason,
checked.
I'm thinking it's Canadian. I don't know why.
Might be.
I had to fact check myself. I lied. Willem Dafoe is in the Nosferatu movie, but he is not Orlok. Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise, is going to be Count Orlok.
Oh, okay.
Ah, interesting.
Okay. I hope he's not dancing it. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
I caught the chat
Nosferatu, the dancing vampire.
I mean, I'd watch it. I mean, has anyone ever seen like any of like the Chinese vampire movies where the vampires hop? Like it's actually really interesting. It's like culturally they have like hopping vampires, and it's a different vibe. That's for sure.
I bet it's a different vibe. I caught the chat about movie overdubbed for public consumption. Have you seen the Repo Man TV edit?
Wow.
My favorite one is the snakes on a plane one where it's like I'm tired of these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane. And you're like, oh my god, that's so good.
So funny story. My mom is a retired teacher. And you know when they roll in the old VCR and TV and like the class gets to watch a movie. So anyway, it was coming to the end of the year or whatever, and the copy that we had at home of the Goonies was taped off of TV. So of course it was the edited for TV version of the Goonies. So it was very clean. There was no swearing. There was no like a lot of it was cut out. So she thought, I'm going to bring in the Goonies for my grade 4 class to watch. And then it was, of course, the unedited version. And she went running into the principal's office because she's like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired.
So funny. We saw some wild, they used to show some wild stuff in schools occasionally, though. Like I remember in high school, they like showed Shakespeare in Love. And then what happened was the teacher had this like Superman cape. So like every time it's about to get saucy, she'd be like, Superman cape. And I'm like, this is so rude. Get rid of this. I'm like, I hate Superman forever now. I don't like him. Like he's Superman.
That's so weird.
Yeah. And she's like, you don't need to see this. I'm like, yes, we do. It's part of the movie. We're watching that.
We watched a Romeo and Juliet in junior high. That was like the 60s version or whatever.
Oh. Nice.
And she's saucy, like full on nudity, and I'm like, I'm like, are we really watching this right now? I'm like 14 or whatever. We watched Gremlins when I was in elementary school. I remember watching Gremlins.
That's a questionable one to watch in public school because Santa Claus is outed like way quicker than
that was probably another situation where it's like nobody actually pre-watched this movie before showing it to children.
There's just like one kid be like, "What now?" No.
I remember one year in high school, our German teacher, I think it must have been like, you know, the last day of the term or whatever, and so we were, everyone was cutting loose and not really having proper lessons, and our German teacher was like, we're going to watch a movie today, and everyone's like, yeah, and he's like, it's Groundhog Day, and everyone's like, yeah, and he's like, in German, and we're like, what?
Guten Tag, Phil.
Yeah. So
Mario Bava films. So I need to get up on a lot of these classics. I'm not gonna lie.
Mario Bava is awesome. I think you
Gotta
really
love
like.
Bava.
There's like some Bava films I still need to see, but I really like Black Sabbath. I think that's what, like that's the one that's like the short stories where it's like
the one with the doll thing.
Yeah, there's like a weird doll thing, and there's a Verdelak, which is like Boris Karloff. There's this thing called the Verdelak, and I just like the word Verdelak, so it's like there's other stuff that happens, but I just remember the Verdelak. And I was like, I want to like.
Well, and I mean, going back to the fact that I'm just kind of ticked off with modern movies. I mean, this is an opportunity now for me to go back and watch some of these older ones. Nice. But I mean, a lot of the modern movies sometimes don't get like a big push. Like they had the new R.L. Stine come out in October, I think. It's called Zombie Town.
Like there's a movie, like R.L. Stine movie came, like another one?
Shot here in Canada with Dan Aykroyd in it and Chevy Chase. And it's so cute. I mean, it's nothing spectacular, but it was super cute. My husband and I actually had the theater to ourselves because nobody knew about this movie.
I didn't, but yeah, I never heard of it. Like, those two are doing horror films way back. So it's they're back to Canada. They used to do all the only Canucksploitation films. Like they're back, baby. That would be fun. I want to do like a Canucksploitation-a-thon where it's like a watch-a-thon where you have to like watch Canucksploitation films. That would be cool.
We still have to do our second part of like Canadian nostalgia.
Oh, we do.
Andrew.
Yeah, I'm down.
We need to do like a series where we talk about like one show during like each.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Instead of bouncing back and forth between them. I'm liking this idea. Maybe we start a podcast like Jackie.
Littlest Hobocast. That's what it is.
Yes.
Just a dog solving everyone's problems. It's the best. It's the best thing ever.
Everyone's problems.
At one point in the intro, he's got a gun. Like the dog's got a gun. You're like, you go, dog. Don't mess with them.
I mean that show was from what, the 70s, 60s, 70s?
Yep, Mike Myers. Early Mike Myers is in an episode where he's just like hanging out, and you're like, oh, freaking Mike Myers in there.
Well, and I'm pretty sure every Canadian Gen X or early millennial can sing that theme song.
Just doing it.
It's just one of those things.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So good. All right. Well, we've been on here an hour and a half. I think our view count is going down, so I'm going to wrap her up.
I don't know if anybody in the chat has asked, but like, do you have anything like now that you are at 1K, anything bigger planned for 2024 that maybe you didn't have planned before?
Any people you're gonna like stop talking to because they're not popular enough? Just asking for people, or maybe in China.
Andrew's canceled. I'm way too big for you now. You are no longer invited to my live show.
She's like, yeah, 900. Talk to me when it's 1,000.
I only talk to people who are above 1K now. So a couple of things coming up for 2024. So I do want to start a podcast that has nothing to do with BookTube. So that is in the works. I'm hoping to get it off the ground for February. And then announcement video coming out tomorrow. So this is the year where I'm going to get over myself and be like, if nobody joins or if nobody wants to do my book club or whatever, who cares? At least I tried, right? Yeah. So that's my attitude this year. So
that's a good mindset.
Listen, I'm so proud of the little Haunted Victorian book club. I'm so freaking proud of it. I thought I was going to have like me and my mom.
No, that would still have been cute though.
Yes, we're going to have my mom on a live show one of these days.
Yeah.
Now I want like a little free library that just looks like an old Victorian mansion that you just put old Gothic paperbacks in. That'd be amazing.
Friends are overrated. why I don't have any friends in real life. It's just you guys.
I am only on the internet. I'm a digital construction. I'm AI.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to reveal it, but yeah, I am AI. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think anybody with that much personality could be AI, honestly.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you don't have the dead eyes. You have
No.
actual eyes. You don't have the dead eyes.
Now I'm just imagining Jaws, but Quinn is talking about AI. The doll's eyes, the blanket eyes.
So, Andrew, your assignment is you have to watch Dolls, and you need to tell me about it.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna definitely watch Dolls. The movie, not just a random person's doll collection. I mean, if they pay me money, I guess I'll babysit your dolls. Got to be for the right price. I've seen the movie Boy. I'm suspicious.
All right, kiddos. I'm wrapping her up because it's almost date night. We have
Aww.
Saturday night date
Nice.
night. So it's almost time to put on the appies and change into my jammies and watch a movie.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Hey,
having
Lydia. Thank you guys so much. Thanks everybody for stopping into the chat.
Thank you.
Bye.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, congrats, Lizzie.
Thank you.
Deserve.